that is our electronic job database. And just to give you a little bleep about Simplicity, and you guys, I'm so sorry, you can sit down if you want. If you have any questions, just ask them. I continue going until the end. But if you can stay here, that'll be wonderful, just in case they have any questions. Simplicity is like LinkedIn, but it belongs to, or St. Thomas contracts them, and literally we do all your document reviews. You apply to jobs that are listed on our website, etc., through that program. You schedule appointments with us through it, etc. Sometimes we're very hands-on, so if you schedule an appointment to meet with Ms. Mantrana, for example, and she's not available and denies your request, or lets you know, I'm not available at that time, we'll pick it up from emails from then on out. It doesn't matter. We're not like sticklers to, if you didn't do it this way, we're not gonna meet with you. In fact, we're here to service you. Hello, director, I got your spot now. We're here to meet with you, and our office is here to service you. What else am I missing? I wrote some things down just to make sure. So we review your resumes, your cover letters. Being an attorney in the law is something like what you've never done before. From professors now teaching you Socratically, which is just questions, and you may never get an answer, right? I would go home crying, telling my husband, I hate Socrates. Why are they doing the Socratic method? There is a logic to the madness, and they're very bright in what they do, and you will learn the law well. Resumes and cover letters and documents you're going to be applying, using for your job searches, really very few of you, if any, will bring it in the form of, talk to me.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
Before I went
What is your name?
My name is Josh. I am from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. I went to Florida State, go Noles. Florida State got robbed this year, by the way.
That should have been a successful lawsuit. I'm still bitter about it.
And also, I want to point out that in the bowl game, that was not the team.
63-0?
It was all third and fourth.
If the Dolphins play and all 23 members are switched out, is it the same thing? Anyway, we'll fight this fight later.
One person got injured, and because one person gets injured, the whole team gets to suffer. They were shafted. That was so, don't start with me.
Fernandez, I've never heard that expression from you. Wow. That was, you guys will get to know Dean Fernandez. You offer her a drink and she'll say yes, Diet Coke on the rocks. So that was an expression for her. Question. So before I came to law school, I worked in marketing department of a hospital. So I know how to have a resume. It's a really good layout, and my boss
wants to fight with you. Trust me, we have kids. We have our own fights at home, okay? She's not doing that to fight with you. I'm not doing that to make your world, to turn your world upside down. I'm doing it because truthfully, to produce successful employed lawyers is what you pay us to do. And we're going to tell you and get you there the best way we know how. So if your resume, ladies, have a flower on it, a partner at Holland and Knight really doesn't care. He's probably going to give it to his wife that's a school teacher to see if they have a position for you teaching in elementary school.
Not that there's anything wrong with teaching.
No, there's not. But flowers on resumes for future attorneys, there's a huge problem with that. Colors, you know, different. Some of you put your names that's bigger than life, you know. There's certain etiquette that the legal profession has when it comes to documents, and you should not put your name more than a 14-pitch size. And your document should be no less or no smaller than 11 pitch. Why? Because the majority of people reading your resumes are old people like us. Are old people like us. And we can't see. So if I have a stack of resumes this long and I come across one that's like 10 pitch because the person wanted to put so much in it that I really don't care about, and I'm not going to read it, it's going to go to the side or a trash can. I was a federal law clerk for over 11 years before coming to St. Thomas, and in two of my positions, I was the career law clerk, the senior career law clerk for the federal judge. So I got to review, and in federal court, you get like, when there's a position opening in chambers, you can easily get 80 resumes in 3 days. Okay, so you get all these resumes, I ain't got time for that. And if you put a comma where it shouldn't be, or you forgot a period, that goes in a pile that the judge never even sees. So typos and just being alert to your documents is huge. Sometimes we'll send you a document back and you'll say, but I've corrected it. And then we'll literally say, hey, you know, can you stop by after class, whatever, and when you come here, we love highlights, right? And Ms. Ventrana is very good at that. And she'll have your resume highlighted in 62 different places as to why, look, you really did not do what I asked you to do. That's okay. We know that there's a lot of pressure in law school, but again, work with us because our goal is to get you all employed. Now, I can continue talking about other things that we provide for you, but let me ask you, any questions? No.
You mentioned scholarships before. Is that a resource that we reach out to your office to see?
No, that's all admissions. Admissions. When it's scholarships to get in admissions, once you're here as a student, we do have a number of scholarships that you can apply to in addition to anything that that admissions has awarded you. And that the Director of Student Services will send out an email. In fact, Ms. Ventrana is part of the scholarship committee. So she's right now in the process of reviewing a ton of resumes that came in and applications for different scholarships that we award in the spring. So yes, there's definitely opportunities for you to make it easier for you financially. But I gotta tell you, whether you're here on scholarship or not, your JD will carry you a long way. Education isn't cheap by any stretch of the imagination. And what I like about a JD is that we're seeing more and more people come to law school to get a Juris Doctorate and then go off and be, you know, like the head of the manager at, you know, at ABC Inc. or the manager at Google or some type of other position that's not necessarily litigating in court or being a public defender or the state attorney. It really is very refreshing. And at the end of the day, who doesn't want to be a doctor or a lawyer? So you get out of law school and you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. So your JD will serve you very well. Your first semester, you are required to meet with our office at least once a year. It's called your mandatory 1L meeting, your mandatory 2L meeting, and then in the third year, you're not required to meet with our office for a meeting, but for an exit interview. So we do this because we want to see where you're at in your studies, where you're at with your job search, and how we can help you get you along. Because by the time you hit your 3L year, we want to make sure that when a prospective employer sees your resume, you almost look like a mini attorney because you've done a number of substantial internships that really beef up your resume as an attorney. Now with that, do I mean to say that we take out everything that you've done that's not related to the law? Absolutely not, and let me give you an example. We had a young lady a few years ago land a really nice, she was one of 3 final candidates for a position with a pretty large firm in Fort Lauderdale, okay? They have multiple offices throughout the whole state. And one of 3. That means that she was impressive in her interview. That means that she impressed the people on paper. And that means she'd had no typos and she was ready to go. So when that happens, an employer is like, you know, I like him, her, and him. Oh my goodness, who do I want? And I think even to add insult to injury, I think, because I know the employer well, I think that all their resumes were from females. So it's not even like, you know, we need a guy versus a female, or we need a female versus a guy, and try to balance out that department. They were all females. St. Thomas's student got hired and not the other students. Do you know why? Because this particular firm had just opened up an alcohol division in their law firm. And this young lady, in her non-legal jobs, had been a bartender during her undergrad at FSU. And that's why they picked her over the other 2 candidates. So we don't necessarily erase your history, we try to work with it. So we didn't put her that part of her resume to say attended to customers, knows how to, knows what a Bacardi drink is, knows how to mix, knows how to this, cleaned up the counter. No, we just left it as a one-liner, right? Fridays, I think it was Fridays in Gainesville, or Tallahassee, Florida, and her position and the years that she served there. But they saw that. Wow, you were a bartender, and that's it. That got her hired. So we don't erase everything. If you were a barrister or barista at Starbucks, we don't erase that. That actually, it shows that you were whatever. You have a 3.5 GPA undergrad. At the same time, you worked 3 years and studied. So that shows a bit more character on your part. Now, if your resume becomes overwhelming, maybe those parts we ask you, you know what, have 2 resumes. A long version and a short version. And for now, while you're a student, we're gonna use the short version because we think that you've beefed it up enough that an employer will be impressive just with this. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Any questions?
That's good for 3.5 years.
Oh, perfect. Cool.
So all 3 of those services will last you through the duration of law school. If you, for some reason, take a leave of absence for a year and come back, all you have to do is come to the library and let us know, and we change the date and give you another year. So they won't expire until probably after you've taken the bar. Most people can take the bar twice if you have to, and still have access to those. It'll be sometime after that they do expire. And then the other things I want to mention, this line of materials: law school success, study aids and treatises. Connected quizzing is a platform that allows you to practice multiple choice questions. Some of your professors will have a special connected quizzing set up, and they'll put it in their Canvas course for you. Does anybody have Professor Gilbert for Common Law this semester? Do you guys have that class? No, okay. I know some others do. She's the only one I know for sure because I was just helping her with it this morning. If you see it in Canvas, they're going to assign you specifics, right? If you want to just practice multiple choice questions yourself, click this link, fill out the registration form. Within an hour or so, they will, the Connected Quizzing team will grant you access to Connected Quizzing platform, and then you can practice multiple choice questions on any of the subjects you'll be taking this semester. They have about 18 law school subjects in there, so it'll even be stuff that you'll probably want to use going forward in the future as well. The bar exam is 75% multiple choice questions. Your law school exams are going to be this year 50% multiple choice questions. So I myself was terrible at them. I always picked the second best answer. That's not the way to do it. So practice those multiple choice is going to be the way to do that. Another thing I'll mention, spaced repetition. Spaced repetition uses Law in a Flash flashcards, which you actually used to be able to buy. You can still get the used ones on Amazon and stuff, but it's a box of flashcards on legal topics where the front side of the card gives you, asks you what the elements of an intentional tort is, and on the back side it'll tell you that. Spaced repetition uses that, along with the science of learning psychology, to give you timed lessons and repeat the stuff that you got wrong, so you can really reinforce your learning. And the academic support team will definitely ask you to be using spaced repetition over the semester. These 3 in the middle, though, are where you're going to find all of your study aids. The Law Library provides you access to all of the major series publications for all the study aids, whether it's Glannon Guide, it's an understanding series, it's examples and explanations. If your professor has them on the syllabus, you definitely want to look at it because it means that they're using material out of that supplemental study aid to inform their course. I had a professor in law school who actually used questions out of that book to create their essay on the exam. And all of us thought, oh, it's a study aid, they're never going to use that. That would be too obvious, but some do. So, but also, the study aids are great because your case books that you'll all have, they don't tell you what the law is. They give you a bunch of cases, right? And you have to glean from those cases what the law is. The supplements and study aids will tell you exactly what the law is. So it's much more clear and will help you understand what's going on in law school. So each of these 3 have, depending on the publisher, Lexis is going to have things like question and answer and the understanding series. West is going to have nutshells and horn books. Aspen is going to have Glennon guides and examples and explanations. So I would recommend that you look through each of those, you find the subjects, there's a drop-down menu for all the main law school subjects. Look through, decide what's best for you. If you want some advice, come to the library and ask myself or the staff what we use when we were in law school, what we found good, what other students are finding to be beneficial. Questions about that? You log into these three using your network credentials, same as you would have access your email. Yes.
Do you have physical copies of supplementals in the library?
We have a limited supply, yes. We don't have every single supplement that is published in the library, and we typically have 2 or 3 copies of all the primary ones, so you can check those out on a 24-hour basis.
Okay, and are we able to leave the library with them?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything you check out from the front desk, you can take out of the library. Just has to be back in the time frame allotted. Most of the books on the second floor are 2 weeks. Those study aids, just because there's a high demand for them, it's 24 hours, and you can keep renewing it, but you have to come back at least every 24 hours to do that. There are a very small number of items that are like a 4-hour checkout. A professor will put something out that they don't really want to leave the library, and they want to give you opportunity to glance through it. But those are more rare, and you will find out about those typically from your professor. They'll either list it in the syllabus, or they'll tell you in class, hey, I left this in the library for you to check out. Just ask at the front desk about those. But basically 24 hours or 2 weeks are the periods, yeah.
Do we have access to those online study aids?
Yes.
Like at home? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, the study aids libraries are accessible anywhere you have an internet connection. And even better, all 3 of them actually allow you to download for 4 months at a time a full copy of the book onto your device. So if you're going to get on a plane and you don't want to pay for the Wi-Fi, right, download the stuff before you get on the plane and read while you're flying, because you'll be able to do it offline if you download it to your specific device beforehand. Each 3 of those databases is under the St. Thomas subscription, but once you've logged into our subscription, if you create your own account within it, you'll also be able to do other things like highlight and bookmark certain things within the book. So over that 4-month period, it'll retain all that, and actually it'll save your highlighting and your annotations and anything you've done like that. It'll save it indefinitely. So I would recommend creating your own account after you've signed in through the St. Thomas platform. Yeah.
Yeah, I came in a little late too. So the subscription that we're using to get access to that, is that just like our student ID?
Yes.
And
yeah. Each of these 3 right here in the middle, you use the same credentials you sign in to access your email. If you're already signed into your email by chance in your browser, if you click this, it won't make you sign in again. It'll take you to a link, to a landing page where you select the university. It's going to be the only option, St. Thomas University College of Law. You click that, and then it'll take you straight into the particular database. Once you're in, that's where I'd recommend you create your own account. Since you did come in late, I just want to mention these 4 at the top, you will get a registration email for that is separate. You'll create your own password, your own user ID for that. Technically, you can use any email address, but I wouldn't recommend that, because periodically those vendors go through and scrub their accounts, and if they see something that's at Gmail or at Yahoo, they're just going to delete that, and you're going to lose access and have to come back to us and get a new registration code. So please use your STU email address to register for Bloomberg, Lexis, Westlaw, and Cali. That way your access will be sustainable over the next 3.5 years. Any other questions? So last thing I want to say is, if you need to reach out to me, my email address is really simple. It's my first name, jacob@stu.edu. I'm typically on campus, not super early in the morning, but later morning and all afternoon into the evening, every day of the week. So if you need anything from me, come and ask me, come find me. I do teach legal writing, so maybe in the fall I'll be seeing you. I don't know, we haven't made the class assignments for the fall, but there's a good chance or at least a chance I'll be seeing you in the fall. But if you need anything in the meantime, or you have any suggestions about what you want how you want the library to change or improve or anything, please do let me know. All right. I think it's lunchtime. Josh told me to dismiss you all for lunch when I was done talking. And I only got you out of here 15 minutes late, so that's not too bad. All right, well, good luck, everybody, and welcome to St. Thomas.